ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 8, titled Attaining the Supreme, and the verse number is 16. Abrahma bhuvanaloka
Abrahma Bhuvanaloka
punar avartina arjuna
Punar Avartina Arjuna
mamupetya tu kaunteya
Mam Upetya tu Kaunteya
punarjanma na vidyate.
Punarjanma na vidyate.
Abrahma bhuvanaloka
Abrahma Bhuvanaloka
punar avartina arjuna
Punar Avartina Arjuna
mamupetya tu kaunteya
Mamupetya tu Kaunteya
punarjanma na vidyate.
Punarjanma na vidyate.
Any Prabhuji or Mataji?
Abrahma Bhuvanaloka
Abrahma bhuvanaloka
Punar Avartina Arjuna
punar avartina arjuna
Mam Upetya tu Kaunteya
mamupetya tu kaunteya
Punarjanma na vidyate.
punarjanma na vidyate.
Abrahma Bhuvana Loka
Abrahma bhuvanaloka
Punar Avratiyano Arjuna
punar
Punar
avartina
Avartina Arjuna
Mamupate tu Konteya
Mam Upetya tu
mamupetya tu
Kaunteya
kaunteya
Punarjanam na Vidyate.
Punarjanma na
punarjanma na
vidyate.
vidyate. Word by word meaning. Abrahma bhuvanat,
Abrahma Bhuvanat
up to the Brahmaloka planet.
up to the Brahmaloka planet.
Loka,
Loka,
the planetary systems.
the planetary systems.
Puna again, Puna
Punaha,
again.
again.
Avartina,
Avartinaha,
returning.
returning.
Arjuna,
Arjuna,
O Arjuna,
O Arjuna,
Mam,
Mam,
unto me.
unto me.
Upetya,
Upetya,
arriving.
arriving.
Tu,
To,
but.
but.
Kaunteya,
Kaunteya,
O son of Kunti.
O son of Kunti.
Punarjanma,
Punaha Janma,
rebirth.
rebirth.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Vidyate,
Vidyate,
takes place.
takes place.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Swami Prabhupada ki jai. From the highest planet
From the highest planet
in the material world
in the material world
down to the lowest,
down to the lowest,
all are places of misery,
all are places of misery,
wherein repeated birth
wherein repeated birth
and death take place.
and death takes place.
But one who attains
But one who attains
to my abode,
to my abode,
O son of Kunti,
O son of Kunti,
never takes birth again.
never takes birth again.
Anybody would like to read the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Yes, Prabhu. All kind of yogis, karma, jnana, and hata, etc., eventually have to attain devotional perfection in bhakti yoga. or Krishna consciousness. Before they can go to the Krishna's transcendental abode and never return. Those who attain in the highest material planets, the planets of the demigods, are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on day or as persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people on higher planets such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and Indraloka fall down to death, fall down to earth.
Anyone else would like to read this page?
The practice of sacrifice called Panchagi Vidya recommended in the uh, Chandogya Upanishad enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if on Brahmaloka one doesn't cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. Thus, who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation, are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. Baladeva Vidyabhushan, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, quotes this verse: "Brahmanashah te sarve samprate prati sanchare parasya parasyante Kritatmanah pravisanti parampadam." When there is devastation of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires.
Thank you very much. So we will all recite the pranam invocation mantra at the same time so that we can save time. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaykam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapada Kamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitam
Krishna Chaitanya
Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana
Bhavani
Lalita Sri
Lalita Shri
Vishaka
Vishakha
Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu
Sindhu
Dinabandhu
Dinabandhu
Jagatpate
Jagatpate
Gopesha
Gopesha
Gopika
Gopika
Kanta
Kanta
Radha
Radha
Kanta
Kanta
Namastate
Namastate
Tapta
Tapta
Kanchana
Kanchana
Gaurangi
Gaurangi
Radhe
Radhe
Vrindavaneshwari
Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanusute
Vishwanusute
Devi
Devi
Pranamami
Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha
Chakatarubhyascha
Vasindu Vacha
Vipasindhuvya Vacha
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri
Shri
Advaita
Advaita
Gadadhar
Gadadhara
Srivas Adi
Srivasaya
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Gauravakta
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama Rama
Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Saturday evening Bhakti Vriksha, where we take one of the top 108 verses of Bhagavad Gita and go systematically one after other so that we get the nectar of the Bhagavad Gita through the association of devotees. So here are excellent words. Lord Krishna is explaining about uh, the Brahmaloka planet where um, Punar Avartinarjuna, and he talks about returning back to the planet where you're residing again and again. Mam upetya tu Kaunteya. That means he's referring to Arjuna as Kaunteya. And he talks about Punarjanma Nabhijate. So, what, how the process of not returning to this planet takes place based on your desires between different lokas. So, as you can see, Abrahma Bhuvanal Loka. So, Brahmaji has created this universe, and he created many different lokas. And then, based on your desires, you go up and down between different lokas based on your desires. And how a person should cultivate his desires in such a way that he doesn't do punarjanma navidyate. He doesn't take birth again and again. So what a beautiful words. If you analyze this words, there is a lot meant here where we are going to discuss little bit about Brahma's different lokas, how Brahmaji went about creating different lokas. We'll discuss little bit from there, and we'll take a bit of a leaf from there now, because when Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead through Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, is creating the universe as an architect, as someone who is, um, directing Brahma with a design, a blueprint to create the universe. He is responsible for primary creation, which is called Sarga. Sarga means primary creation. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many different kinds of topics. The first two topics are Sarga, which is primary creation, and the second topic, which is taught in Srimad Bhagavatam in terms of importance and in terms of the basic Leelas of the Lord, is Visarga, which is a secondary creation. So Brahmaji is responsible for taking the blueprint and creating this world, creating this universe. There are many such universes. Every universe has one Brahma, and he is creating various different universes based on the blueprint. So, in this sense, Purna Purushottam Krishna is the chief architect, and Brahma, he's taking the architecture blueprint and trying to design, doing the low level design of creating different lokas. But Brahmaji is very significant for us. This doesn't mean up and low in the context of our perception. Both are very potent. But in the context of this discussion, we have to recognize that Brahmaji is working under the jurisdiction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna through Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and how he's creating. And through these different lokas, Brahmaji has created through um, the Srishti Leela of the Lord, the Visarga, the secondary creation Leela of the Lord, how one should behave, how one should desire aspects in their lives so that they do not come back through this punar avartina arjuna. That means through this constant returning back to the planets, constant returning back to the planets through the desires, how to become desireless so that we do not get attracted to come back to this world. So when the time comes, and if you're too much attracted to our families, and too much attracted to the riches we have, there is a very good propensity that we will all come back. So, how to model ourselves, how to get Krishna consciousness so that we do not have to come back. Abrahma, Abrahma Bhuvanaloka. Beautiful. Punar Avartina Arjuna. Very sweetly, Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna about the different lokas and how we should conduct ourselves. Very beautiful words. So we'll try to go deep into it. And here, Srila Prabhupada, takes it to a very different level about karma, jnana, hatha, to attain devotional perfection of bhakti yoga. And then he talks about the different lokas. And then Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan is talking about when the devastation happens, based on Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, are all transferred to spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires. The last word, the key word in this verse, uh, Baldev Vidyabhushan is quoting, is the desires. So it is very, very important for us to check our desires. So let's try to understand a little bit background. So when Brahmaji came from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu in the Garbhodak ocean, as you can see here Lord Vishnu is residing, and from the navel, Brahmaji is appearing through the stalk of this lotus, and Brahmaji is right here. So Brahmaji, uh, trying after getting created, he was the first person in this universe. So he was very surprised. Where did I come from? What did I? He got bit bit shaken up. So he came to the middle portion of the lotus and then tried to go through the stalk of the lotus. And in the meantime, this lotus has expanded to the full universe. So when Brahmaji came out, he created three worlds in the first place. He created the lower planets Patal Loka, the middle planets Bhuloka, and upper planets Swarloka. And then he divided the three lokas or planets into 14 different planets, which we call Brahmanda. Brahmanda is Brahma and Anda. Anda means is in the shape of an egg, as you can see. So all the 14 lokas, what we're discussing here is culmination from the three uh, planets, the lower, middle, and upper. And based on our desires, we may fluctuate between each of these 14 planets. So we are in Bhurloka, which is the base planet, where we are residing right here. You see the number 7. And above number 7, we have 6 more on the ascending order of light or ascending order of reduction in darkness. So Bhurloka is where we have 12 hours of light and 12 hours of darkness. And above Bhuloka, we have Bhuvarloka. Above Bhuvarloka is Swarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. And based on the inferior nature of the desires, gradually from Bhurloka, uh, it goes down to Atala Loka, Vitala Loka, Sutala Loka, Talatala Loka, Mahatala Loka, Rasatala Loka, and Patala Loka. So So sometimes what happens is we are put in a body, as you know, based on our deeds, based on our prarabdha karma, we are put in a body. Actually, we think we have taken birth from our mother's womb, but actually, by virtue of the subtle energy of the Lord, which is present in our heart as uh, Atma, soul, and also present as super soul, we are actually put in a body based on our desires. We think we have got this body and we have so much of ahankar and we try to show case our body, but actually we are put in this body. That is the first thing we have to recognize. So sometimes based on our desires, sometimes we have very good desires, and we become very potent in terms of identifying who we are. But sometimes we have very weird desires. We have weird desires to eat things, indulge in activities which are very weird. So those kind of activities and desires cannot be performed in the body you are in. So you have to be put in a body by which you can perform those attributes, perform those functions. So sometimes because of those nature, we either go up or down, as we have seen in Bhagavad Gita. So based on our prior states, we go up in these lokas, as you see on the right side, and depending on our desires from the aspect of ignorance, because here in the middle planet where we are, which we call Bhuvar Loka, we have where there is a uh, bit of a ignorance, a bit of a mm, uh, rajasic, which is the mode of passion. There's a mixture, and as you go down, you have the mode of passion, mode of ignorance taking more over as we go to the lower planetary systems, and in the upper planetary system there is more aspect of goodness. And so, based on our sincere desires, uh, we are put in a body which is fixed for different kinds of locus. So these locus are in the upper ascending order from the element of piety, the element of good quality, and likewise the one below, as I'm showing in my mouse, is through the lower abilities. So we have to be very careful about the desires as we progress in our sadhana and Krishna consciousness. So, so when Brahmaji created this universe, he meditated on his creation and paid obeisances to Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and he created 3 worlds and divided into 14 worlds. Then he created the 4 Manasa Putras, who are Sanaka Kumara, Sanatana Kumara, Sanandana Kumara, and Sanat Kumara. They all start with Sana. That's why they are called Chatusana. So, but when Brahmaji created these 4 kids, Brahmaji wanted them to go and procreate. So he created this four so that they can go and procreate. But by virtue of their very sweet relationship to the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, this four wanted to maintain celibacy. They didn't want to start the family life, which kind of angered Brahmaji. So Brahmaji became so angry that a effulgence came from the middle portion of his forehead between the eyes, and then that ball of effulgence eventually became a boy, and that boy had uh, tremendous amount of crying going on at the time. The atmosphere and everything was full of thunderstorms and lightnings, and the crying, he was crying in such a vigorous speed that his name eventually became Rudra, and Rudra was sent to the various the to different places where he can go and procreate. And so Rudra was born. So as you can see, Rudra, who is none other than Shiva, is actually the son of Brahmaji based on this references. And Narad Muni is also the son of Brahmaji. So you have the four Kumaras who are taking care of serving the Lord. Then you have Rudra. Then you have Narad Muni and Brahmaji. They all are cohesively working towards the plan of the Lord. This four, and there are more, but in this example, there are uh, a very defined, nice way where all the four set of personalities are cohesively working. Brahmaji is trying to design the universe, this beautiful creation, after taking the blueprint from Purna Purushottam Krishna to Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Then the Kumaras are spreading Krishna consciousness through serving the Lord. Rudra is helping procreate by interacting with different personalities who are in the mode of ignorance slash passion. And then we have Narad Muni, who is spreading the glories of the Lord. So they all are working in tandem, in complementary to each other. So the initial aspect of universe creation dealt with creation of the personalities who are working very close to each other. So here Lord Krishna is saying, when you have nice desires, then you can stay away from this coming back into this universe through this four cycles of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. So this lokas which Brahmaji has created, Krishna in this verse saying, a Brahma, up to the Brahmaloka planet, a Brahma, up to the Brahmaloka planet, this going back and forth, going back and forth depending on your desires can happen if you have these aspects of, uh, of desires. But you can choose not to come back to this by doing Krishna consciousness. And in doing so, you do not have to come back to this world again and again. So as you can see, every one was working in coherence under Krishna's plan. So Brahmaji is an engineer who has created this machine. But sometimes when he creates the machine sometimes doesn't work on you. Sometimes if you saw the four Kumaras Brahmaji created, but when the time came, the Kumaras didn't work as per the plan of Brahmaji. So the machine sometimes doesn't work on you. So sometimes you think you have created something, it doesn't work. So, but that doesn't mean we will stop working. So they are constantly working under the cohesive plan of Lord Krishna. So that's why Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through Das Kaviraj Goswami writes a beautiful words which is syncing with this shloka. Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jiv, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhaktilata Bij. So according to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the same universe, the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary system, as we saw, and some are going down in the lower planetary system out of many millions of wandering living entities. One who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of Lord Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. So, the best thing in all this, what we have learned, is we are Brahmite. We are basically wandering in our birth and birth and birth. We're constantly wandering between different locus based, but uh, but of all these things, by the blessing of Krishna, we get the prasad, which is what is the prasad? Uh, we Prasad of getting association with good devotees and a good spiritual master in the form of Srila Prabhupada. And in doing so, we have the creeper of devotional service building in our hearts. And by virtue of that, we do not come back through this wandering, this Brahmite aspect of it. And that's the reason why we have to strongly take to Krishna consciousness if we really want to get rid of really coming back to this um, process of Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi among the different lokas, all these Brahma lokas and Swarlokas we just talked about. So that's why it's mentioned, Yara dekhe tare kaho Krishna Upades, Amara Gyana Guru, Hana Tara Desh. So instruct everyone to follow the orders of Sri Krishna as they're given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which we are doing now. In this way, become a spiritual master or become someone who propagate the message. This is the ultimate truth. A lot of people don't know. They think this is the only life they have got, and they constantly indulge in various different things. But we do not have to satisfy ourselves with that assertion. We should take to the the ultimate truth, the ultimate truth, what is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, which is these things wherein we tell everybody that there is no need to really come back to this world. This world is full of misery. And it's temporary. Last words we say dukkhalaya susto. That means it is very, very temporary and it's full of misery. We don't have to come back. And in order to not come back, this process of really up and down, we are controlled by our desires. Instead of that, we should control our desires and then make sure that we do not come back. So, so very beautiful words, very apt words. So Krishna is giving such a beautiful analogy as to how we should escape ourselves. Like, say for example, if you have seen if a particular object is thrown at escape velocity, it doesn't really come back to this the gravitational pull and the escape velocity repulsion really balances each other, then we stay in the orbit, so wherein we really do not come back. So we should make our desires in such a manner so that we escape from this constant uh, cycle of birth and death, and gradually resort to building the creeper of bhakti in our heart, and and make sure whoever we see, we tell the truth, so that they recognize that because of all the people we have got this human life who can analyze the difference between good and bad, and where we came from. If we haven't resorted to this kind of analysis, then what have we done? So take the process more seriously. And as Krishna is so beautifully referring to Arjuna as Kaunteya, that in order for you uh, to not come back um, to this material world, from the up to low, this 14 planetary system through the 14 lokas, which is a place of misery, and you come back through repeated birth and death. But once you attain Lord's abode, the Krishna's abode, which is beyond the 14 lokas, then you do not have to take birth again. You never come back after you escape from this 14 planetary systems and go back to Golok Vrindavan, which is the Krishna Loka. So with that, I'd like to keep it short because it's a bit uh, focused philosophical words, uh, and we just discussed about how Brahmaji created this beautiful universe, but we should make every attempt to not come back to this miserable and temporary world and not go through the cycle of birth and death again and again. So with that, I'd like to end here, open up for any discussion, question, comments, reflection. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any comments, Prabhuji?
No comments, Prabhu, today. Very, very good explanation, Prabhu, how the Brahmaji created everything. Very lucidly you described, Prabhu.
So thank you so much, Prabhu. And Prabhuji was inviting everyone for his home program next week. So if you're available, please reach out to Prabhuji, who is with us. I know everybody is busy with various different things, but trying to associate as much as possible is always beneficial. So, and we have Govardhan Puja tomorrow. We'll get to it, but before that, anybody else? Thank you, Mrs. Karuna Jagannath Prabhu, for sharing. Any other comments from anybody else?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to him, Jagannath Prabhu. Thanks for the no comments, Prabhuji. It was well explained. The concepts were very clear with respect to the creation and the secondary creation, Sarga Visarga. Prabhuji, I really appreciate that. That the blueprint and the from the main design, the blueprint was created. That analogy was very good, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. I don't have anything to add because you covered everything. Um,
And Prabhuji, as you know, everyone, Prabhuji is also taking care of the Govinda. And now I see a lot of traffic because Diwali time, Govardhan Puja time, there's a lot of demand for our prasadam, and I'm seeing a lot of activity. So thank you so much, Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu, for every customer, every devotee who's coming. You are so nicely sort of engaging. Um, and if anybody wants, they can all share their needs in the WhatsApp group. Our Bhakti Ratnakar Prabhu can also take your orders. So just wanted to add, because not many people know that you are behind all of these wonderful services our temple is undertaking.
no, Prabhuji, it's your legacy, Prabhuji. I have not done anything. You created Govindas and you. Thanks, Prabhuji. But yeah, definitely any service we can do. Sweets we are ordering, like the time to order sweets and everything. We have wonderful chefs. So please make use of that. All prepared by Vaishnavas and offered. So that's a blessed sweets rather than buying outside.
Yeah.
Because as Prabhuji has mentioned, we are what we eat. So if we eat prasadam, which is offered to the Lord, then we imbibe those qualities of spirituality, because the consciousness goes into the food by the preparer. So if the preparer is a non-Vaishnava, then there is a little chance that we may deviate from the spirituality. But if we eat, that's why Prabhupada has insisted to have this Sunday feast, and where we can have prasadam cooked by Vaishnavas, offered to Krishna, and then that way our spirituality increases. So Govindas is a manifestation of the concept. So let's make use of that. And if you have any suggestions and any feedback, negative, positive, we will try to improve, so that way we serve everyone to their expectation. Thank you, Him Jagannath Prabhu.
Yes.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Yeah. And Prabhuji is also in our Bhakti Vriksha WhatsApp group. His phone number is there. So you know who to go to, because he's part of our Bhakti Vriksha, and we are a very closely linked community. Even if today we have 6 people, generally we have 10, 15, 12 people attending. So if you know anybody, you can all point to Prabhuji, who is in our WhatsApp group, and they can connect with him. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. On the same note, Prabhuji, some people doesn't want that big group. So as Prabhuji has mentioned, you can connect in the small group, and we will pass the message to the WhatsApp. We can, so because we get so many messages on the big group, so it may irritate you. it may annoy you because if you're sleeping, that buzzes and all that. So, are you doing something concentrated? With concentration, it may disturb you. So, this small group is a good forum. If you have to do, we can pass that message to the main group. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Niranjan
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu, you in this WhatsApp group, I try to send the message, but I'm not able to do that because admin restriction there.
Yeah, yeah. So what happened, Prabhu, once before, uh, as you probably know, some non, I mean, it was just sent by mistake. But all I wanted to say, Prabhu, is in the WhatsApp group, there is Prabhuji's number is there, who is our Govinda coordinator. You can take the number from there. I can open it if you want, but then what happens is sometimes it get some, like, you have fat fingering, you wanted to send some to somebody else, you might have seen some historical thing, I'll talk to you. And in order to really restrict that, so I just kind of made it like that.
Yes.
If you want to regularly send, I can make you admin as well. There's nothing.
No, no,
uh,
no, 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 Prabhu. I don't become the admin, but whatever my address and the occasion, can you please send to others?
I
So
will.
that,
I,
yes.
I will definitely. I will definitely send it your invitation to our BV members, and I'll also add your phone number in case they want to contact you.
Sure, sure.
Okay, thank you so much. Any
Thank
other question, Niranjan Prabhu, Priti Mataji, about today's verse or anything else? Tomorrow is Govardhan Puja in a big way, 2 p.m. If you have any desire to prepare anything for the Giriraj Govardhan, because Krishna didn't want the Vrajavasis to offer anything to Indra, who was pounding them with, rain and clouds and lightning. But instead, Krishna wanted everyone to offer to Govardhan so that Govardhan is pleased and Govardhan is saving us and not divert our service to Indra. And all the Vrajavasis made so many items for Govardhan, and everybody had so much of very strong desire of surrender to Krishna, that when Krishna was 7 year old, everybody didn't feel that Krishna will shake it up and that they will all get crushed under a huge mountain who Krishna lifted in his left pinky. The extent of surrender was so significant. Everybody stayed under the mountain for 7 days and 7 nights under huge clouds and rain. So, what a beautiful concept of surrender we can learn. So, if we all can have little bit of surrender, like the Brajvasis, who didn't think Krishna will shake the mountain up and they will all get crushed, fully surrender that Krishna will protect him. If we get 1% of that, we will be relieved and we'll be liberated. So hope yesterday's actual day Govardhan Puja, which we are celebrating tomorrow, with close to 500 to 1,000 items on the altar. If you want to prepare some sweets or get some prasadam, get some bhoga, sorry, fruits, nuts, you can bring it by 2 p.m. so that our devotees will take it and nicely organize it on the altar. If anybody else wants to add anything, please go ahead and share some of the plans. So there's a big plan undertaken. There's nice decoration going to happen. Wonderful darshan. You can do parikrama of Giriraj Govardhan tomorrow, and also not parikrama, darshan of Giriraj Govardhan tomorrow, and also tomorrow is Sri Prabhupada's disappearance day. We are going to celebrate from 4 p.m. onwards. So there is a lot of celebration happening, because in Krishna consciousness, a Vaishnava, uh, uh, he is so potent that uh, that his appearance and disappearance has to be celebrated. So anything you want to ask, please go ahead and ask. Any comments, reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Prana. Nice class, Prabhuji. I have one small question. Generally, Prabhuji, when we chant, right? Because I hear like from different people from different I hear. So generally, when we chant, we have to meditate the deity form of Krishna, or just we chant and listen, the sound that we chant, right? So what is the best way of chanting the Maha Mantra?
the most optimum and the best uh, result you can get is in the early morning, in the Brahma Muhurta time between 4 to 6, 4 to 7, when you wake up. If you can take shower, which is the best, to purify yourself a little bit, and then come back, sit upright in front of your altar if possible, or in front of, this is the best. I'm saying you can have restrictions, the benefits are there. Then quietly you can glorify our Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Gadadhar Gaura Bhakta, and then continuously chant 108 times, wherein whatever you are uttering through your one sense of, you are basically hearing at the same time. And then at that time you can have you seated yourself in front of the altar, where you can constantly seeing, or if you have a nice picture of Krishna, you can put it, or if you have nice picture of Lord Jagannath, you can put it, or if you have a nice picture of Gauranga, you can put it and meditate on his form, pastime, or anything which attracts you, but not get wandering in your thought process. That's probably the best you could get. There are variations. People walk, people, and also sometimes if you come to temple, you'll get another better experience, in the sense that in the middle we'll have Tulsi Maharani, where you can sit around Tulsi Maharani, and sometimes people want to walk, so they walk around Tulsi Maharani. So there are variants. So having seated in front of Tulsi Maharani, in front of the deities, where you can hear what you are chanting. So the constant inflow and outflow is going on. It gives you the best quality of result. Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, in line to what Him Jagannath Prabhu told, basically we have to engage all our five senses, Prabhuji. That is the concept. So it doesn't have to be all the five, but the more the better. Whatever way it is convenient to you. That is the beauty, that there are no rules and regulations for this. So you can meditate on the pastimes through the mind. With the hands you chant, you touch the tulsi. As Prabhu mentioned, if you have tulsi, you can walk around tulsi. Since it is 108 rounds and 16 times, the time might be more, you can do for some time. So there are no rules and regulations, but the principle is, if you can, while speaking, you are hearing, and it is also imbibed in your heart. So they say that it goes from the tongue to the senses to the heart. So all the five senses basically have to be engaged, Prabhuji. That is the essence.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, any other comments, Priti Mataji? We missed you last week, but thank you for joining. Uh, the association is the most important thing. You have any thoughts or comments? We saw Prabhuji in Gitanagari. Please, we invite Prabhuji to join if possible in Zoom, which will be so nice. So please, you have any question or comments, Mataji?
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you. So let's end here, if there is no other question or comment, by paying obeisances on the lotus feet of all Vaishnavas, by saying Vancha Kalpatar
Yes, sir.
Kripa Sindhu
Yes,
Bhaiva
Sindhu Deva Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha.
Vaishnava Vrinda Ki
Vrinda
Jai,
ki jai,
Prabhupada Ki Jai,
Radha ki jai,
Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai.
Him Jagannath Prabhu ki jai. Bhakti Vrinda.